I don't think there's any doubt that Nitish Kumar is going to be the chief minister. The BJP is already committed to it, and I don't think they can wriggle out now. But the question is not that will he become chief minister or will he stay or not stay. The issue is what kind of a chief minister will he be, given that the JDU's performance relative to the BJP has not been so good. And therefore, this puts him in a situation where he is more or less beholden to the BJP for his position. Will this mean that he will be a more assertive chief minister than before, given that now it is proved that the BJP cannot form a government without the JDU? In the past, Nitish Kumar has been extremely assertive, leading to a lot of resentment within the BJP about his position as a so-called alliance partner. We have seen Power Minister R.K. Singh and others complain publicly about his behavior towards the BJP and the BJP's agenda. So now, if they are going to form a government together, will there be a code of conduct in place? How far Nitish Kumar can go in keeping the BJP back? And how the BJP will ensure its own growth apart from him, circumventing him? This is the question that we have to answer. The Chief Minister has already announced that this will be his last election, so he has to put a succession plan in place. Will the succession plan take into account his own party? Will it also take into account the BJP? We have seen in the past that he has not been very good at giving up power. In the 9-month period that Jitan Ram Manjhi was Chief Minister of Bihar, Nitish was in place, and then he realized that Manjhi is possibly not up to the job, and then quickly took back power from him. So he's not very good at this. But now he has no choice. He's already said that he is not going to be chief minister again. He's not going to contest any elections again. And therefore, he has to hand over the reins of both the chief ministership and the leadership of the party to someone else. We have to see who that person will be and what kind of systems Nitish Kumar will put in place. There is another slightly complex question, which is whether he meant it or he just said it as a throwaway remark. This will be tested in the days to come. I think it's pretty clear now that the RJD will have to reinvent itself. It has tried putting aside issues of social justice in favor of governance and performance of the state government. That has not brought it the results that were commensurate with the expectation. The issue is also that the Congress, which got 70 seats in the seat distribution, has done far worse than it was expected to do. So what should the RJD do now? Should it go and try and prize away Nitish from the BJP embrace? Is this even possible? Or should it try and rejig the internal relationship inside the party? Along what lines should it rejig the relationship? The other question is, which is an imponderable, is whether RJD and Tejashwi Yadav will now face a rebellion from within. I think that answer we should get in the next day or two. One thing is clear, that this election has proved that crowds don't necessarily lead to votes. I think this has been proved beyond question. We saw the crowds that came for LJP leaders' meetings. We saw the crowds that came for Tejashwi Yadav's meetings, and the result has not been translated into votes. There seem to be limits to charisma. There's no doubt that Tejashwi Yadav spoke directly to the young men, and the young men were preponderant in the crowd. But obviously that has not translated into votes. So now both Nitish Kumar and Tejashwi Yadav have to learn a lesson from this. One, that all the boys and young men who came for Tejashwi Yadav's rallies may not have voted for him, but their issues, their grievances, their pain, the reason for their existence was clearly evident by the fact that they came to Tejashwi Yadav in such large numbers. So the government has to now take into account that sentiment and address the problems. Tejashwi Yadav has time on his side, so these young men will still be there when he faces the election 5 years later. Who knows what might happen? But one thing is clear, that if you rely on crowds to lend you charisma and vice versa, in an election, that doesn't necessarily work. Not at all. In fact, I would say that in the coming 5 years, this is going to be a really big challenge for both the BJP and the JDU to make sure that their relationship continues in a way that allows both space to grow. We have seen how in the past Nitish Kumar and the JDU have crushed the BJP. We have also seen the tension leading to a parting of ways also. But at the same time, the BJP has to understand that it may be the bigger partner in the alliance, but it is there because of the JDU. So it needs to tweak its agenda and its ambition accordingly. We are seeing that the JDU is going to be relatively directionless after 5 years. We are also seeing that the BJP has a lot of ambition. It has already announced, not announced, but signaled its new leadership for the state. So how things pan out in the relationship between these two partners is what has to be seen in the days to come.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.